Hello, hello, hello. I am getting on here really quickly. Hold on, get ready to share. Oh. Okay. So really quickly, I just wanted to get on and just say thank you to everyone who took their time out to wish me, give me blessings and love on this day, my birthday. And I just wanted to share a little testimony because I know this time of the year can be difficult for some, and it can be, hard to get through the holiday season, or you may have lost a loved one, and this is your first holiday season without them. And so I just wanted to hop on and give a little bit of my testimony, and again, say thank you to everyone who took the time out of their day to write on my Facebook, send me a text message, call me, leave a voice message, sing me a song, went out to eat. All the blessings and the gifts and the love was definitely received, and I truly appreciate it. I definitely, at one point in time in my life, did not think I would make it to be 41. So I have no problem with sharing my age because I never thought there was a point in time where I thought that 41 wouldn't be possible. And so I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony as to why I felt that way. So, my mom, my first mother, she passed when I was 5 and she was 24 years old. And I grew up in hearing how much I look like her, how much I act like her, and hearing that as a young child, the enemy would come and say, because I look like her, I act like her, that my life would end early like hers did. So I had this fear growing up that I wouldn't make it past 24 years old. But here I am at 41. So I had this fear that I wouldn't make it past 24 because of what happened with my mom. And she had got sick. She had cancer, so she had died from cancer. And but the enemy really had me thinking that something would happen to me and I wouldn't make it past 24 years old. Well, I can tell you at the age of 24, I did receive a diagnosis of um, what is it, Crohn's, and I I can't say I wasn't nervous or scared of the diagnosis because I really didn't understand what it was. But as I started to study and realize what it was, and was like, this is pretty serious, and it could lead to death. But because of my faith in God, and some of y'all are probably not gonna like this, but most of y'all know that I'm a believer. So God's got his hand all on me, and that's what y'all gonna hear. But because of my faith in God, I believed him that he was a healer and that I would receive his healing in that area. Again, I was 24 when I got this diagnosis. So I was already in the mindset of, am I going to make it past 24? And then here I get this diagnosis. I want to say it's probably like about 2, 3 months after my 24th birthday. And there was still something in me that said, this isn't it. This is not going to be your demise. And so because I was like, I believe that. I believe the word that that diagnosis wasn't going to be my demise. And so I really started to press in and seek more of God, seek more of his word, seek an understanding of what his word was really saying when they say that he's a healer. And um fast forward to now, I don't have no signs of Crohn's. I believe I'm completely and totally healed. There are things that I have done that have confirmed that it hasn't gone any further than where it was. Um, there's nothing that would even say in my life that I have Crohn's. It's not a thing for me anymore. And I am grateful and thankful, and I give all praise to God, Yahweh, because He is truly a healer. And He will do the miraculous if we allow Him to, if we seek and trust Him to. But again, I didn't believe I was going to make it past 24 because of the lie that the enemy told me, that just because I look just like my mom, I act like my mom, that I was going to die early like she did. So for me to see 41 today, I can honestly say I am truly blessed. I've had other things happen in my life, and been around fights, gun shootings, and other sicknesses and car accidents and anything that could have taken me out. But God saw fit for me to see 41. And I am grateful for that opportunity, to make it this far, because there are those who have not. And I've had a really different year for me. I had an aunt who transitioned to be with the Lord. And then 5 months after that, my grandmother, who helped raise me, she transitioned to be with the Lord. And so this year has definitely been trying on my heart. When my grandmother passed, I was still grieving the transition of my aunt. And we all know grief is different for all of us. We all process the transition of our loved ones differently. And so for me, I was still processing it, not really realizing how much it was still on me. So then when I got the call for my call about my grandmother, I literally felt my heart break. I felt it shatter. And I I got stuck for a moment. I couldn't focus. I was in a place I had never been before. Um, and I would sit and I would zone out, and it would be an hour later and I hadn't even moved, and I didn't realize an hour had passed. So it really, really hit me hard when I got that call, because I was already in a state of grief. And now my grandmother transitioned. So now the grief is on me heavy. And so it really took me back. There were things that I was working on that I couldn't even get my mind to focus on. I couldn't continue to make plans and arrangements. I couldn't think past where I was in that moment. It was very, very trying. It was difficult. I was literally on autopilot at that point. Trying to see and figure out, like, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. I don't know how I'm going to make it to the next. And but I remember the scripture where it says that God is close to the brokenhearted. And I cried out and I said, God, my heart is broken, and I need you. It says that you're close to the brokenhearted. So I need you to be closer to me than I've ever experienced you be this close before. And because for me, I didn't cry a lot growing up at the loss of loved ones. Even when my mom transitioned when I was younger, I remember crying, but not necessarily grieving, because I was 5, so it was really hard for me to process that, right? But I was 17 and I had a different aunt. When I was 17, I had a conversation with her and she said, it really hurt me when you didn't cry for your mom. And, it made me worry about you. And then I can't even remember how much time went by after having that conversation with her, but some time went by, and not a lot of time, but like a few weeks later, she ends up transitioning. And when that happened, I broke down and I cried. And so at that time I was crying for my mom and my aunt, because my aunt had just told me before she passed that she was worried about me because I didn't cry for my mother. I didn't grieve for my mother. And so when my aunt passed and transitioned, I literally began to grieve for her and my mother at the same time. So this tends to be a trend, right? So then this year, my other aunt transitions, and then 5 months later, my grandmother transitions. So now I'm grieving two loved ones at the same time, and it was a real toll on me, and um, I couldn't see past where I was at. Like every day I woke up and I just felt it. And so I leaned in on God even more, and I cried out and I said, God, I can't handle this weight, this pain, this what I'm feeling. God, I need you to take this. Because there's no way I'm going to be able to continue. Thank you, Fanti. There's no way I'll be able to continue with this weight of this grief that is on me. And it was like, so I was like, I have to make it through this. And that Friday, I was at church and one of my sisters prayed with me. And when she prayed, she asked me, she said, do you feel guilty for anything? And when she said that, I broke down, and I said, and I just cried out. And so we prayed into that. And so I just want to encourage those who may be going through a difficult time because you've have a loved one that transitioned. You have or it's just a rough time for you. If you feel guilty about anything, lay it down at God's feet. Let it go, because guilt is nothing but a weight that holds us down. It keeps us pulled from being able to move forward. And I'm not saying don't grieve. I'm not saying don't miss your loved ones. I'm not saying any of that at all. But I am saying that if you're carrying guilt for anything, let that go, because typically we carry guilt for things that we can't make changes to, and or things that we can't rectify. And if it's something that we can't rectify, if it's something that we can't change, why are we carrying that weight on us when all that weight is doing is holding us back from moving forward? So I want to encourage those who may be carrying guilt with them to really let that weight go, and truly grieve whatever it is that guilt is towards, whether it's a person, or whether it's a goal that you didn't meet, or whatever it may be. Hey Omar, thank you. Whatever it may be that you're carrying that's holding that guilt, grieve that, and go through the grieving process. And I really believe that that's why we hold on to guilt, is because it's attached to something that we have to grieve, and we don't want to grieve. But again, when we grieve, it's not saying you don't care. It's not saying that what happened didn't happen, but it's allowing us to go through those emotions. And when you go through them, we have the denial phase, and then we have the phase where we're just completely broken, and then we have the phase where we really accept it, but then we get to the point where it's like, okay, so this happened, so now how do I move forward? And that's the place that a lot of us don't get to, because we're so concerned with the guilt. The guilt of some people have the survivor's remorse, because you've made it out of a lifestyle that others may not have, or you made it out of situations that others have not. And so then we feel bad, and we don't want to fully live the fullness of our lives that we can, because we're so stuck in feeling guilty for what we've been able to do, or what we didn't do. And so I just want to get on and encourage you to really let that guilt go. Don't allow guilt to hold you back. And again, when I felt that in September. Well, my grandmother passed in August, and we had her services in September. But when I felt that, it really was like pulling me back. And so I was like, God, I was like, this can't be my life. I can't carry this around with me. So I felt that weight of guilt. I felt that really holding me back, pulling me from what I was pressing towards prior to me receiving that news. And so when you really get to a point where you can trust God, I'm telling you, trust God, lay the guilt down, go through the grieving process, that you can get to a point in life that you can really enjoy life, still miss your loved ones, still love them, but it doesn't have to hinder you from enjoying life and enjoying life with those who are still around. This is the thing that I've learned in life. Again, I've dealt with grief and loss from the age of 5. I'm 41, and I'm grateful to be 41. I am grateful to have made it this far. I am blessed, because there are a lot of things that I encountered that really tried to keep me back, that really tried to hold me. And I just want to say, keep going, keep pressing. Don't let those things in your life make you feel guilty, because we're not perfect. That's the thing. We always try our best, and if we fail, that's okay. And I think that's part of the things that really make it hard for us to move forward in life, is because when we fail, we feel like it's not okay that we failed. But failing is a part of life, and getting back up is another part of life, and learning from what we failed at is a big piece of us growing and developing and maturing. So if you fail, that's okay. Get back up and continue to move forward. But that I just felt compelled to just get on and encourage and share with you guys to really grieve whatever it is that you have to grieve, whether it be a person, a goal, a situation, whatever it may be. Go through the grieving process, because there is another you can get to the other side of it. You can get to the point where you're enjoying life again, and your love and your love for them, or you can revive that idea, or whatever it is that you're grieving. That doesn't have to be the end all. That your life doesn't have to end there. So I just want to encourage you all. Again, I'm just overwhelmed with God's love for me, that He saw fit that I make it this far. because again, grief really did have grabbed a hold of me this year. And so for me to get to this point and really, like, I'm really joyful, I am really happy, and just in a place of awe at all God has done for me, even in the last few months, at how he has healed my broken heart. I love my aunt. I love my grandmother, and I miss them dearly. And I wish I could pick up my phone and call my aunt. She normally is like, "Hey, I'm coming and I'm getting you. We're going out to eat for your birthday." But this is my first year without her for my birthday. And yes, I miss her, but that heaviness, we don't have to carry that heaviness with us for all of our lives. I'm telling you what I know, because I felt it, and God lifted it, because I laid it at his feet, and I said, because I understood I couldn't move, I couldn't go forward. I couldn't give my best. I couldn't give my all with that weight. And a lot of us are carrying that weight of guilt. We're carrying that weight, and our loved ones wouldn't want us to carry that. They would want us to be able to let that go and move forward in the fullness of who we are and the fullness of who we're called to be. So I want to encourage you all to really just take this time to assess where you're at. See, is there's any guilt that you're holding on to, and release it and lay it at God's feet and allow him to heal you. Go through the grieving process, because there is an other side. Life, you don't have to live life in grief. Grief is not a forever thing. I tell you this because I know. I tell you this because I've experienced God's hand on my life where he has healed me. I know people say that you're always going to. God is God or he's not. He's either a healer or he's not. And it's hard in the grieving process to think that we'll get through that. But I promise you can. It doesn't have to hurt every time you remember them. And it's not a bad thing that it doesn't hurt when you remember them, because we should remember them and remember them with a smile. Not, it shouldn't bring it. We don't have to feel the pain every time. And that when that pain goes away, don't feel bad that the pain went away. You should feel good, because that means now you can remember them and be in the love that you have for them. So I want to encourage you to go through the grieving process. Don't stop. God is close to the brokenhearted. He's there for you. Try him. I'm telling you to try him. If you need to talk with someone, you need to pray with someone, y'all can DM me. I will be there for you. I guarantee you, if you just allow God to do what he wants to do in your life. And that's to bring you through the pain, to bring you through the grief. Let go of the guilt and allow him to take it all in, and allow him to take you in, and allow him to love you. I guarantee you will experience life in a new way. So I just wanted to hop on and share that. I love you all. Again, thank you so much for all the love that has been shown. Keep your eyes out. I'll have more episodes of Love Thyself with Ebony Marie coming soon. Until then, be loved. Peace. Be blessed.